And welcome to the second episode of Lessons from Success, guys. I'm your host, Bryn Turner, and today we're going to be having a chat to Anne-Marie from Kidswantu. Kidswantu is an extremely interesting company as it gives busy parents activity ideas to keep their kids away from the screens. It's really important to get your kids away from the phones, tablets and laptops, as being on those things 24/7 can really hinder the learning and development process. Kidswantu is extremely simple. All you do is you put your kids' demographics in and choose your location, and then it offers an array of activities for the kids to select. Now, what's most important about Anne-Marie is that she's had a really interesting journey from leaving the corporate grind. She left it quite late in life, and now she's on her journey to start this company, and she's had a lot of ups and downs ever since the beginning. And her story is extremely interesting to hear, as it goes through the beta testing that was involved, goes through the things that she really did wish she knew earlier, and all those other pieces of the puzzle. So without further ado, let's get her on the show. Thank you so much for joining us today, Anne-Marie. This is Anne-Marie from Kidswantu, and she's going to have a little bit of a chat today about her business and everything around it. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Bryn. It's really good to be here.
So tell us a little bit about your business.
Kidswantu is about making a difference across the globe. I'm passionate about helping busy parents and carers get some time and fun back in their lives. I also really care about making sure that we're helping build creative thinking and communication skills in the contributors of our future, who are our youth. And as an experienced parent, I know that sometimes ideas are really hard. Just like you cook the same things for dinner, you often do the same things over and over again with kids.
That's true.
So enter Kidswantu. We provide a service via a mobile app which is customised and personalised for each family based on providing ideas for ages, geography, place, time to do not only what suits the child but what the parent is going to have fun doing too.
That's awesome. Well, so tell me a little bit about how, so let's just say I was to jump on board today. I've got a 7-year-old kid. So how would you sort of personalise the experience for me, and how would it all go about?
Sure. Well, first of all, you'd be waiting for our second version because our beta was fantastic. We had thousands of people download it, but we also learned what worked and what didn't work. So we've got that hidden away while we move into version 2 build, which should be coming out in Q1 2019 very soon. But what you would do, say you had a 7-year-old, after you've done all your initial setup, literally you just open the phone, open the app and say, okay, I've got up to 15 minutes. I want to do something with this child. If it's just the one, you just tap on the child's icon or their photo. Say whether you want it to be inside or outside. It already knows what the child likes to do, what the interests. It already knows what you like. It already knows the learning outcomes you might like to have, and it just goes through with our algorithms and selects things that it perfectly fit what you have or what you need to do for that time right then and there. Now that could be an imagination activity. It could be something moving furniture around. It could be something using craft activities or stuff from your kitchen drawer. All of our activities are just using everyday items you find around the house, so you can do them instantly. So you go through and you have a look at all the selections and think, okay, I'm happy to do maybe these 3 things. So you select them, the app takes them, hides those in an interactive bunch of balloons on the phone, and that's when the kids come in and say, oh, Bryn, I'm bored, you said you'd do something with me. So, okay, here you go, kid. And then they get to muck around on the phone and they get to pop a dancing balloon and pick their surprise activity, which gives them a sense of ownership, and because they've picked the activity and you have to do it with them. And of course,
so now
you
I'm
already
forced
know.
Into it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it's as simple as that. You look through. You each look through the steps. Okay, look, this is what we're doing. Do we need to gather any things? Step 1, step 2. Let's put the phone down, put it away, have that engaged face-to-face fun together, that two-way interaction. Yeah. Take a photo at the end, post it on social media if you want, rate the activity, and then get on with life.
That's so cool. I do notice a lot of families now at restaurants and things like that, everyone is on their phone. There's basically no social time whatsoever. So are you trying to get people away from the screens and doing different activities? Or?
Yeah, so it's a bit unique, I suppose, what we're doing. We're a bit old-fashioned. We're actually using technology to get people off technology for short periods of time.
Good.
And a restaurant is a perfect example. So building those communication skills that I talked about. Imagine you're out, you're a family, you're going out to dinner, and it can sometimes be automatic that the kids will just want to jump on their screen. But there's so many things that you can talk about in a restaurant or that you can learn. And it could be that, all right, across dinner, we're going to do 2 Kidswantu activities. One of them might involve like learning about food or something that they're picking off the menu, or it might be a game, looking around the restaurant, how many people are wearing different coloured shirts, or what sort of family breakups, and all of that can tie into colours and counting, but we can do that through fun interactions, and that actually creates communication and keeps people off screen. So you only look at the screen for those instructions. And then what it also does, we've found for our testing, is it prompts more discussions and more talking. And then people forget to go back to their screen because they're actually just being real and being human.
I feel like a lot of people do want to be real and human as well. I feel like it's just everyone's taken over with the screen because instead of sitting and dealing with, it might be the anxiety, it might be the silence, everyone quickly jumps to some sort of electronic device, right? And that seems to be the easiest fix for everyone.
We just provide some easy prompts.
Yeah.
So
that's important, extremely important.
And because, as I said, often you're tired, you're busy, and you just can't think of different things.
Yeah.
So we do that hard thinking to come up with some unique, interesting things. And because of the process of going through, we actually get to learn, what the kids like, what you like, and can start prompting.
So how do you learn what we like? Is it we answer a series of questions when we first come onto the beta, or?
Yes, yeah, that's that. At this stage, it's algorithms. Through algorithms, you go through in the same way if you were setting up, say, a Spotify account or going into Meetup, and you put what your preferences are. So we offer those, and then we can then align it more to what suits each particular person as we go. But what I really want to do is start moving into that machine learning aspect, because what I'd love to do in the future is, as we move towards getting more evidence-based research to look at the value add that Kidswantu can provide to families in increasing engagement, I'd also love to be able to say, okay, this activity is perfect for Julie, and this activity is perfect for Dan, not because of their age, but because of the development stage that they're at.
Okay, so it's going more in depth than just the age and the demographic.
Yeah, well, that's what we want to move to.
Yeah.
So this next version will be the straightforward, pick your interests and match that way.
Yeah.
And then as we go into our next version from then, that's when we want to really get into the nitty-gritty and make it so personalised that people just think it's helping them think for themselves.
That's awesome. And when it comes to sort of the beta test, what have you changed from the beta test to now, and what have you learned along that path?
Oh, lots.
That's a good beta test then.
Yeah, so much. First of all, you have to make sure that the tech works smoothly, that things load very quickly, that onboarding is easy, it doesn't take too long. And we found out that people wanted to be able to, once they started getting used to it, they wanted to go back in, and they weren't so fussed about having the app tell them or make suggestions, because they wanted to go back to certain activities, or they wanted to search via, all right, we want to do something with food or with potatoes. We've got a bunch load of potatoes here. What can we do with potatoes? Oh, okay, we can grow something, or we can cut them out and we can make stencils, or we can chop them up and do something with them. So they want to be able to search that way. So just some little things, looking at functionality. Still coming back to that balloon popping, that stayed all the way through.
Yeah, I love that idea though. The amount of fun I'd have as an adult doing that, I can't even imagine being a kid and doing it. Like, it would be awesome. Yeah.
And also it's a matter of looking at a gamification aspect to help with that stickiness. So with the balloons, the kids want to get the parents doing something. But we also found that having a data dashboard for the parents was really important, because they want to know how much time they're spending with the kids. And it could be that if you've got 3 children, you might just generally always do science activities with Sam, because that's easy and that's what he likes.
Yeah.
However, it's really important to introduce children to a broad aspect of knowledge, skills and experience. So that data dashboard can actually help by saying, okay, we've been doing all this, let's try something different. So that was something the parents are really interested in too, looking at tracking that interaction.
Yeah. Do you know what I find really fascinating about it is, a lot of the time parents will go towards one kid a lot of the times instead of the others.
Yes.
It might be a shared interest that the parents have or something like that. And I feel like the data dashboard will show them exactly how much more time they're spending with Sam as opposed to Julie or whatever it may be. So that's really cool.
It does that, and it does it in a really nice visual way. And then as we move further along, there's so many things I would like to do, and we got feedback, but in typical startup style, what we have to do is keep it small and keep it tight.
Yeah.
And we'll do that, and then we'll add functionality as we iterate through.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to get the product out first before you can start adding on these cool little features and everything.
Yes, yeah, and we're fortunate because in 2019 we'll be running a proof of concept project with the Department of Veterans Affairs. So we're going to be running a series of 80 focus groups with veteran families and getting their feedback on what they think works, what they want. So it's a perfect opportunity for us to really get this next version product right.
Yeah.
And know what it's going to look like in the future.
Is that a start of the year thing that you're doing that, or?
Yes. Yep. So we'll be commencing in. Well, we're actually doing that as we're completing the build. So we've started the build. And these focus groups are going to be helping us as we go through, as we're testing each stage. As we get to each different sprint, we'll be going back to them and saying, okay, what did you think about this? Let's try this, give us some feedback. So rather than us just building a product and saying, here you go, try it, we've got this fantastic engaged group of families who are helping us and involved all the way along and being part of the story.
That's so cool. You're really, definitely lucky to get something like that. How did you go about getting the focus groups and all those sorts of things, just for the people listening that are interested in building that same way?
It's a mix of, and this is part of the startup journey, I suppose, a mix of building networks, making connections, looking for grant opportunities, learning. For me, it was very much working out about what the customer wants and determining who the customer is. So for this particular one, for the Department of Veterans Affairs, it was a kind of a grant where they were looking at developing social opportunities for younger veterans. And I had a look at where the money had been going, and it had been going to buses and barbecues.
Interesting.
Which is great.
Yeah.
But I also know a number of younger veterans, and that's not so much what they're interested in. What they're interested in is different things. And I thought I had something different to offer, because another aspect of Kidswantu is we'll be able to use it to build communities within geographical areas and find like-minded people.
Yeah.
So I made an approach and said, look, I'm not a bus and I'm not a barbecue, but I've got something that I think can really help not only veterans' families, but families all over. But this is something that is scalable. It isn't just geographically focused. Anybody can use it anywhere, anytime. So give me a go.
I mean, especially being off screen as well, it's not like just Australian kids are going to have fun doing the activities you suggest. It's any kid anywhere will essentially have fun doing what you'll suggest.
Well, and that's one of the things that's really exciting for me, as in cultural opportunities for cultural education. So as we have immigrants coming into Australia and helping them get settled, there's some fantastic activities that people have been doing in other countries for many years. You know, I mean, Australia's a very young country when it's only like 200 plus years since white settlement. So we don't have a long history other than in the Indigenous aspect. So this is an opportunity to teach other families about Indigenous activities, about activities that families might be doing traditionally in China or somewhere in Europe, and help them integrate in, but also help educate Aussie families about others as well.
Yeah, for sure. Have you got any competitors? I try to have a look online for any, and I couldn't find a thing. But is there any kind of indirect sort of competitors?
There are some. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of apps out there for kids to use on screens.
Yeah.
There's very few for this customised face-to-face engagement. There's a couple in Australia, a Brisbane-based one, Grow with Nature Play, and they're fantastic. They're focused on the very young children, up to about 3, and getting them out to getting engaged with outside and tracking. You know, the first time you dip their toe in a puddle or pick up a stick and stuff like that. It's quite
awesome.
Fantastic. So they're really good. They look after that niche area. There's another product in Sydney. But again, it's not about the face-to-face engagement. It's more about, here's some activities that kids can do away from a screen. one of the things that we're different from the two in Australia and the couple that are, there's two in the States, two in the UK, and a couple spotted here and there, is that we're providing customised activities to do together, face to face. This isn't about, here's an activity to occupy the kid and keep them busy. Yeah. Here's an activity to do together that you like as well. So in that we're unique. Yeah. We're certainly not, most of the activities and most of the ideas, they've been around forever. We're not creating anything new. We're just helping people go back, because the muscle memory from when some parents were like 8 years old and running around outside, they don't always remember some of those activities they were doing.
Especially not with the busy life that they're all leading now, right?
Yeah, so we're providing a portal to their past life and also to, those fun memories, and that's what we want to do. We want to bring memories into families rather than, what's a memory if you ask somebody who's about 25, what do you remember from best about when you were a kid? They might say, oh, it was great when our parents took us to Dreamworld. Wouldn't it be good if they could actually talk about actual experiences? Oh, we used to make these obstacle courses outside, or we used to put the sheets over the couch and we'd make these little storybooks using all the recycled junk mail, and we used to use them. Those are the sort of memories that I have and people of my generation have of things that they did with their families. So I want to enable that in younger parents and younger children.
Absolutely. I mean, what used to happen in families where they'd hire a nanny and basically not talk to the kids for the majority of their life, I guess the new version of that for people that can't afford the nannies 24/7 is give them an iPad and watch them develop through technology, right?
That's right.
And every single app that's coming out now is how can we make this app more addictive for people to stay on the screens longer?
Yes.
Whereas yours is how can we get people addicted to staying off the screens? It's, definitely a much better concept.
And also we're not saying that screens or technology is bad. I'm not saying that let's replace all of this. No. Each of our activities are either up to 15 minutes or up to 30 minutes. And look, if you're doing something with a 2, 3 or 4-year-old, they're not going to have the attention span for a 30-minute activity anyway.
Oh, so true, yeah. Even I don't
I was going to say a lot of
no, it's definitely it's a really good course, and you're completely right. Technology is not a bad thing by any means. I mean, we're recording through technology right now, but I feel like when you're on it 24/7, the few breaks that you do get from it are the things you remember. You don't remember those little dopamine spikes of scrolling through your news feed or whatever it may be. You always remember the things when you're off it and you're connecting with people. So, and the idea of giving that back to children and families is absolutely incredible.
Well, that's right, and that's one of the reasons that within the product, as they get to the end of it, we prompt them to take a photo, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One is, do they want to share to social media and let people know, we had fun doing this, or hey, look at me, I'm a great parent. Yeah. But also that, that goes into a memory gallery. Look at all the things that we've done together. Yeah. And do you remember what was that thing that we did? And we can go back and have a look. And I'm very much a social enterprise. I'm a profit for purpose, but I am focused about doing good in the world. And I'd like to think that in future we may even be able to help families that are separated, in that there might be someone who only has limited access to their children. We can help them with ideas for genuine, impactful interactions. And through use of the app, there's actual proof, genuine proof and photographic proof that they've done these fun things together. Haven't just gone and sat in the movies and watched a 2-hour movie with the kids. Yeah. So we're not only educating them, but there can actually be some tangible proof that they're better interacting and they're learning to be better parents.
That's awesome. Kind of a bit of a side tangent here, but I read a little bit of an interesting story about how all this started and how it started over a decade ago. Yes. And had to be filed away because of the usual corporate grind that we all go through.
That's right.
Tell us a little bit about the starting story and why did you decide to launch it 10 years after you put it away in the filing cabinet? And
yeah, it is a bit of a fun story. I've done lots of different things in life. And I had quite a successful corporate career. Then when I had children in the early and mid-90s, I decided that I wanted to be the best mum that I could. And I'm proud to say I think that's the thing that I'm best at and the thing I'm most proudest of. And I've got adult children now. They tend to, well, maybe they just agree because that keeps me happy. But
I don't think so. Trust me, they don't. They'd believe it.
Yeah. Anyway, what we used to do is I do a lot of different things with the boys, and so we had two sons. My husband and I had a sporting background, so generally we gravitate to do outside sporting activities, but I wanted to make sure that they were really well-rounded. So whether that's something like buying and building a doll's house together or teaching the boys to sew, I was learning more about different things as well. So I kept coming up with all these fun different activities. We'd go and see theatre shows, we'd go out on nature walks, just lots of different things. And then they'd have friends come around and visit, and regularly parents would ask me, or school teachers would say, "Oh, I heard so-and-so went round to your house and you did this, 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 this and this. What was this activity?" And they kept asking me about the things and that we'd done. And so I started keeping track of them and realised that I actually had something to share that people cared about. So that was the start. And I wrote a business plan. And then I realised I didn't think it was going to work because it would have needed to be a tangible or a physical product, either a book or a busy box. I actually considered subscription boxes back then, which didn't really exist.
Yeah.
But I discounted it because the cost of customer acquisition and also a physical product, getting it out there, was just going to be too difficult. And I just got busy and put it away.
Tech prices back then as well. I mean, to create a platform that you're creating now, I'm sure the prices would have been substantially more, if available at all, basically.
Well, it didn't even occur to me. So it was 2006 when I started pulling all this together. It didn't even occur to me as a tech option from phone or scaling or anything like that. It was just, what can you do right now? But then what happened is in late 2015, where I live here in Ipswich, or in the western suburbs or western region of Queensland, the local council announced they were opening an innovation hub, and there was a competition for people to come in and pitch their business idea, and you could win 6 months membership to explore your business idea. And at that stage, our youngest had just finished high school, and it was just that light bulb moment. The old product was called Express to Fun back then. That could work as a technology product, and then I could reach so many more people just from reading this little thing in the local free newspaper. So I had 2 weeks. I had to teach myself what a pitch was. I had to get myself organised on Meetup so I could even find out what it was and go and sign up and register. And then I taught myself very quickly about prototyping. So I muddled together a clickable prototype and sent that out with a Google form to everybody I knew who was a parent, a teacher and a grandparent. Got feedback, changed the product around a bit, and then went in and did my scary pitch, and was fortunate enough to win my membership. And then I haven't looked back since then, and that so March 2016 is when I walked in the door of the Innovation Hub.
Wow. Are you quite techie yourself to be able to build something like that? Or
No, not at all. I'm probably an early adopter in lots of things, but when I actually built it using non-coding software. So,
Okay.
I mean, there's so much you can do with prototyping that people don't realise. They think, I'm going to do this product, I'm going to build it, I'm going to test it and see what people think. But using prototyping, using hand-drawn designs, or there's so much you can do in lean ways, and that's one of the things I discovered at this pitch competition afterwards, that I'd done a lot of things that were entrepreneurial and using what might be called startup methods.
With the lean
lean,
startup.
yeah.
And
But for me, I just did it because it was common sense. I had 2 weeks, so I had to do it the fastest possible way.
yeah, you're ahead of the game for a lot of people. A lot of people spend so long trying to get that first product perfect and up and running, and then they realise that the market's not even remotely interested in what they have to offer. So
We've had so many different versions. So I had 3 different prototypes even before we moved into writing a first line of code on our beta.
What did it look like in the beginning to what it... I know this is a bit of a long question, but what was the first prototype to where it will be when it's released early next year?
The first prototype was really, really bright, in-your-face colours, and it had stick figure people. It had the same idea of selecting activities, but not as broad. I didn't realise that technology could open up opportunities for me to put so much in. So it was very basic, I was going to be a not-for-profit, I was going to donate it, or if I was going to make money, I was going to take 50 cents for each app. The prototype itself, with all the designs, I just did them in a Word document, saved them in a PDF, and then popped it in InVision, and so it was very, very muddled together.
Yeah.
So looking back now, you wouldn't even recognise the product from a design, from a user flow. The activities, pretty much the same.
Yeah.
So I've been collecting activities since 2006. I've got content for over 1,000, and I had about 30 in the beta, and I've realised that they're all valuable. And so the content itself of the activities hasn't changed at all, but how it's packaged, how it's presented, and how it fits the needs of our end user, that's what's very different.
Interesting. Oh, that's really cool. So have you got a team behind you now? And
Small.
Small? Tell us a little bit.
Very
about
small.
team.
I'm looking to expand the team, so very, very keen to talk to people. One of the things that's really hard is being a sole founder, and being a sole founder who's non-tech. So I've got James, who's a great guy. He's come on to help me oversee some of the tech aspects with regards to the build, and I've got a small team that we're talking about for front end, back end, and some of the design stuff. But it's really muddled together. We're doing it on a shoestring. I have Amanda, who's fantastic. She helps me with operations, marketing, you name it, and making sure that I eat and sleep and don't triple book myself all the time.
That's awesome.
And then our sons have helped me in the back end as well, whenever I need it, whether that's in video, being models, coming up with ideas, sharing it out, design, all that sort of stuff.
Awesome. Back into it. So tell us a little bit about your biggest failure to date.
Oh, got a few.
Don't we all?
Biggest failure to date.
I know it's a bit of an in-your-face question, but it really does help people to understand that startups are never all blue skies.
Oh gosh! That's the thing. I'm just trying to pick which is the biggest one. So, I suppose when we got our beta out for Express to Fun, which is what it was called then, I don't think we'd done enough testing. We'd done just product testing, but we hadn't really understood the end user problem that we were solving properly. I was so focused on product. The product needs to do this. It needs to go from this step to this step to this step. But I didn't understand what people were doing in the lead up beforehand, what they were doing after, why they wanted to use it. So I really didn't understand the customer enough. So we just built what we thought was this product that was going to work because that's what people had told us. And it didn't work. So even though I did get thousands of downloads, and people still contact me. We shut it down a while ago and they changed phones. So, Anne-Marie, I can't get the app anymore. Because one of the things is we didn't learn. I wasn't technical enough to know that I needed to draw a whole lot of data from the back end. So we couldn't track what people were doing, how people were using the product. We couldn't learn from when they were going from one part to another. And what that meant is I couldn't work out how to fix it, how to make changes. So we had all this we had people using the product, but we didn't know when they were using it, how they were using it, how often they used it,
Just
what
wasn't
parts.
tracked.
Yeah, that's right. So we put all this work into it, and the only way I could find that out was by talking to people either through focus groups or through face-to-face discussions. So that was probably my biggest failure because I'd invested all this time and money into this product that we couldn't learn how to become better from.
Yeah, for sure. Have you've sorted that out now with
Oh,
everything
very
you're
much
putting
so.
in?
Yeah. And again, that's probably a rookie error from someone coming in who's non-tech. But there's many people out there like me. You're so used to using your phone and using your laptop. Things just happen. You think about the front end and you don't think about the back end and what information is going to draw and frame the future to make it better and to add value to your customers.
Exactly right. And I definitely find you can get in the tracked mind of this is what I think will work. This is
Yes.
and quite quickly the data shows the complete opposite. And yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So I put that up there because I couldn't say what happened. I couldn't say how people used it and how much they used it. So yeah, we had 4,000 people download the app, but what did they do with it? How often did they use it? And that was one of the things that was definitely a big cross that won't be happening ever again.
Interesting. And on a brighter note, your biggest achievement so far?
Whoa. This is more of a personal one.
Please.
So when I went into fire station, I'd grown in life. So over the past 20 years of being a full-time mum, I probably put on a kilo here and a kilo there, and I'd ballooned up to a pretty big weight, and so I wasn't feeling very confident in myself. And one of the things I found when I went in there, is that to be an entrepreneur, you've got to be out front, you've got to be talking to people. I didn't want to be that person. I just wanted to be tucked in the back corner and working on my product and then having people take it up. It didn't take me long to realise that I had to be out the front. So I made a conscious decision to myself. I didn't say anything to friends, family, not even to my husband, that I wanted to get fit and healthy. It wasn't about losing weight. It was about being confident in myself. So I did. And, over a period of about 10 months, I got rid of that 20 kilograms, got back to the same weight I had been when I turned 40.
That's amazing.
And a lot of people didn't really notice because it was just gradual. I was doing it in a healthy way, and my husband laughs. He said it's like he's got the woman back that he's married, and it's not not in a physical sense, because I only gained the weight for between 40 and 50, but more from confidence and a personality. I just needed to feel comfortable in my own skin, and I didn't feel comfortable in my skin. So I'm most proud of taking ownership of that, making a decision, and that just enabled me to feel like I can do anything.
Yeah, health falls to the wayside so often as well, especially people that are doing startups, not even to mention looking after the kids and all that sort of thing. And it's so important to stay on top of it, because the productivity loss you can have from being unhealthy, and even that lack of confidence might mean you might not attend a meeting, and it really is that snowballing effect that it can have. I'd say it's in the top most important thing to look after when you're an entrepreneur, or basically if you're anyone. You can't, well, I mean, you can make it if you're not confident in yourself, but it's a much easier journey if you are confident in yourself. And it's always the little things that make the biggest difference, like, choosing the right meals to eat here and there, even if you are in a rush, making sure you do find time for exercise, whatever that may be, and just, really staying on top of it.
Yeah, I think it makes a big difference, a mindset difference. But also, as an entrepreneur now, I always thought I worked a lot, and I did. I've worked in every role, and often I worked 3 different jobs at one time, and being a mum as well, and I've run my own businesses and done all sorts of things. I'm probably working harder now than I ever have. I'm still working smart, but just there's so much to do when you're building a global scale up.
Yeah,
a global company that's going to scale up and out, because your understanding and your look into the future is very different. So I need to be healthy within body and mind, and I think that confidence side, but also a matter of sleeping and exercise. For me, it's now more making sure what I do now is just have a routine.
Yeah.
So I don't aspire or say, okay, you should follow this program or do this or do that. And I've never actually said that to anyone. I just have a routine. It works for me, and that keeps me happy.
That's the most important thing as well, is getting that routine, like finding those healthy foods that you like eating, finding the exercise you like doing. And it doesn't mean going to a gym on a treadmill for an hour and, busting your ass uphill. It just means finding good little physical outdoor activities, anything you can to pretty much stay on top of it all. And sleep. That's one of the most important things.
Sleep is good. So with my routine, I try and get up at 4:45 or 5 each morning, and I use my exercise as my educational but also as my downtime. So I've fallen into this pattern where I actually will go to local gym, and I'll jump on the treadmill for half an hour, and I will listen to podcasts. But I'll also play my little mind-numbing match 3 game at the same time. So I'm achieving something, I'm having fun, I'm learning, and I'm exercising. So by the time I get back, have a shower and get on with the day, I've already accomplished so much. It's fun.
And you feel like you've had free time as well.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely addicted to a game I have on my mobile at the moment, and I do, so most weeks I'll do 5 days strength training, 2 days cardio.
Yes.
And on my 2 days cardio, it's exactly right. Set the treadmill to as high incline as I possibly can, do a fast walk, and I'm literally there with my head buried in the phone playing a phone game. And I'm puffed out and I'm dying during it, but it makes the time go so much faster, and I've still done it. I've still got the exercise in, even though I hated it. So
Sounds like you work a lot harder than I do, Bryn.
I highly doubt it. So that's awesome. So in regards to your 2019, what's it looking like right now?
Oh, really exciting. So I'm hoping to expand the team out further. We want to get our first product in market. Really want to start talking to partners and customers. So one of the things we didn't talk about is, how do I make money from Kidswantu? How are we going to take it out and spread it across the world? And for me, it's really important that our product is free for end users so all children can access it, including those who are disadvantaged. So what I want to do, and it's taken a long time through testing and talking to people to get to this stage to work out what I believe is going to work, or what we think is going to work, is that we'll use certain activities will have a very small amount of non-intrusive advertising, which will just be soft logo branding on certain activities brought to you by a particular organisation, and it might be an activity that is aligned with their brand. Say it's a accounting activity, it might be brought to you by a bank. And those logos aren't seen, or any links aren't seen by the children. They're just seen subliminally by the parents as they're going through the activity. So what I'm looking at doing is bringing on our first foundation partners across local government, bank, medical health insurance providers, motor vehicle organisations, restaurant chains and the like. And then we're going to be running.
Yeah, it's the great debate, really, isn't it? How much advertising do you put in without it being intrusive, especially because you want to stay, as loyal to your customers as you possibly can. I think though, especially when it comes to kids, if it is advertising that is suitable for the parents, I personally don't see a problem with it. As I'm not a parent yet, thank God for now. But if I was, seeing a new toy, seeing something that's being offered by somewhere, these are things that, through my exposure of which is mainly Netflix and those sorts of things, I don't get it. I don't get exposure to that sort of advertising. So it could even, if done properly, it could honestly be quite interesting to the parents as well.
Well, it could be, and one of the things that we've spoken to our end users a lot about what they find acceptable and what they don't, and that's why we've found that logo placement is acceptable, with just a clickable link at the end of something that could be of value to a parent because it's related, and they can choose to click on it or not, but it's very non-intrusive. And what it does is it ties into the corporate social responsibility of these organisations, because not only are we helping families have fun together, but again, we're building these leaders of the future too.
And did you have a 3 or 5 year plan?
Oh, yes, definitely. So, well, definitely within 5 years, within 3 years, I'm going to be in all English speaking, all the lead English speaking countries, but really want to be multilingual and really focused into Asia. As we move into year 4 and 5. Really looking forward to an opportunity with World Expo. I've put in a big submission.
Oh, the Dubai one?
The Dubai one, to say, hey, we would love Kidswantu to add value to Dubai and help encourage families to visit different pavilions by helping people do activities before they go about, specific countries, what some of the cultural family activities that they've done there. Here's some points, earn some points, go along to that pavilion, visit, and check in your points, get a prize that's related to that country.
That's cool. And also like seeing the different activities, if Kidswantu were going to fully be in it, seeing different activities from different cultures would be awesome as well. Like, I couldn't even
Yes.
imagine what families in China do for entertainment compared to, a wealthy family in Dubai, for example. And I think it'd be interesting to see that contrast too.
Oh, well, that's right. I mean, what do families in Mongolia do
Absolutely
versus,
no idea.
what do families in Norway do?
Yeah,
And so we can provide, a customized container for that and letting people know all about them and then direct them so that they can go and learn more about the country or about the families or about the social aspects. So that was fun. That was a very big proposal I put in, but
yeah.
it'll be a watch this space in 2019 to see if I've gotten through the next stage.
That's awesome. And so how can people find you? How can people find Kidswantu?
The easiest thing is type Kidswantu into anything. So it's Kidswantu for the U. So whether it's Kids Want You or Kids Want To, kids want to have fun and they want to spend time with you as well. So kidswantu.com and you'll find us anywhere.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Before we go, is there anything else that you'd like to share? Anything that you'd like to share with my guests as well? And yeah, anything to the listeners?
Thanks, Bryn. It's been fun. What I'd like to share is people talk about, a high percentage of startups fail. And yes, they do, but the journey along the way is fun. It's hard work, but it's worthwhile. Whether you have a company that fails or whether you have a company that succeeds, you're learning all the way. Now, we intend to be one of those ones that's going to succeed in a big, big way, but irrespective, the connections I've made, the people I've met, the learnings I've made, and have just made me a better and a richer person. And one of the things that I love best is trying to share and help other people with what I've learned. So just putting it out there to everyone, if I can help you, but also what can you do to help other people?
Yeah, that's a really good point. If someone was to be starting out, let's just say they knew nobody, they had nothing, they've just quit their corporate job, whatever it may be, or they've just left university, whatever it is, how would you recommend them getting a start out?
Two things. Jump online and start teaching yourself like crazy, which is what I did. I spent so much time educating myself through YouTube videos, online university free courses, podcasts, blog articles, books, traditional books, audio books, everything. The other big thing is get out and talk to people who are actually doing it. Go to meetups, go to events, even if you're in a regional area, whether it's a local chamber of commerce, whether it's a networking event, if you're in a major city, there's so many technology-based events. Go along, meet people, or even just go along to the events if you're not confident to talk to somebody yet, and just learn.
How do you recommend finding these events, especially in, I know Brisbane, they're extremely common, and same for Ipswich. In more regional areas, how would you recommend finding these?
In the search engine, pretty much just typing in something like a business event
Yeah.
or networking. I don't think you see networking. I wouldn't probably go to an event just purely because it's a networking event. But if there's a speaker, that's where I'm going to go along because I'm going to learn something. But you always talk to people before and after. So just search startup, innovation, entrepreneurship, and event after it, and something will come up. And often it might just be a local chamber might have a guest speaker who's coming to speak at a breakfast event or something like that. Or it could be that the local high school has run a robotics competition and they're doing a showcase on the weekend of those sorts of things. You're always going to learn something and meet interesting people. So just get out there and say hello or listen.
The most important thing is showing up to these things. I mean, I've been to a few where it's like you said with the networking events, and you go there and it's just they're trying to sell you network marketing. It's completely hell. But still, you might even if you make one good contact out of going to 10 of these things, one good contact can change your life. Hey, it's absolutely incredible.
It is interesting, and this is a time and thing for another conversation. But I actually really feel strongly that we need to reframe what networking is. So I've got this thing saying let's ditch networking and action nice working. So I think that you can get so much more value in life through meeting interesting people by seeing what you can do to help others. So
so true.
I'd like I like having the mantra of nice working, and that works for me.
That's the thing. Add the most value to people you possibly can and expect nothing in return.
Yes.
And for some reason, the universe gives you stuff in return. Anytime that I've gone out there to try and get something off people, which has been a lot of my earlier years, nothing really happens for you. But now I'm on a bit of a journey to help teach and get people to learn. Things just honestly fall into place so much quicker. So.
They can, and they might not, but it doesn't really matter because you're becoming a richer person and expanding your knowledge anyway.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Anne-Marie. I thoroughly appreciate it.
Thanks, Bryn.
Thanks. Thank you so much for tuning into the show today. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed it, and jump over to lessonsfromsuccess.com.au and make sure you jump on that email list so I can notify you as soon as any more shows come out. I'm your host, Bryn Turner, and thank you so much for joining us.